Hi, everyone. If you're watching this in real time, happy Wednesday. So glad that you joined me, either live or on the replay, for a short live that I've scheduled, but one that definitely packs a punch. I'm going to share with you a formula today that will ramp up your energy, help you be more productive, and a little bit happier, maybe. This is a formula that absolutely changed my life, made me much more productive, kind of helped me push away little procrastination tendencies now and again. And it has helped my clients get better results in their lives and in their jobs in particular. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Barbara Fonte. I am the founder of Big Dream Executive Coaching, and I am a life coach for professionals who really want a little bit more in their life, a little more happiness, joy. They want to feel more engaged, and they want better results in their career for sure. So I work with folks using a combination of easy neuroscience, positive psychology, performance science, and a little bit of street smarts because I've learned a thing or two in almost 40 years in training and development, being an entrepreneur and coaching thousands at this point. So I have scheduled a number of these lives to share with you things that I've noticed over time either aren't being talked about and should be, or are being talked about in the wrong way. And so my goal is to share with you things that will serve you and make your life a little bit better. Now, a few little housekeeping tips, and then we're going to just jump right into things. You'll notice there's a QR code at the top of the screen here. If you are not watching today on a cell phone, you can take your cell phone camera, hover it over that QR code, and get access to something that will help you pinpoint some blind spots that you probably have that are messing with your well-being and your outcomes, your performance. For those of you that may be watching this on a cell phone, well, certainly you can't do that. But I have put in to the comments on this event page a link to that very same thing, and I'll do it again for those who show up afterwards or come a little late. I'll put that in the comments as well again for you in just a moment. So I mentioned I'm doing a series of lives. I've got a couple of them coming up. I'm just going to share with you. I started doing them last week, but let me just tell you what's coming up in the next couple weeks. So today, of course, we are focusing on our energy and a formula to help you beat any challenge. In 2 weeks, because I don't have one scheduled for next week, but in 2 weeks, I'm going to share with you some habits of highly successful people. They're not the things that everybody talks about. They're things that they don't tell you about. And I want to tell you what they are. I want to share them with you. And then in 3 weeks, I'm really, really excited for this one. So many of us have too much on our plate. If you're an entrepreneur in particular, you probably feel like an octopus, and you don't need to be doing everything yourself. So I'm going to share with you best practices for harnessing the power of relationships and kind of shed some light on some resources that you probably have at your disposal and don't even realize it. So those things are coming up, and you can get notified when those are posted to register and get reminders for them. You can go to my profile on LinkedIn. In the top, I think it's top right-hand corner, there's a little bell. And if you just click on the bell, you'll get notified when those things are available to register for. If you cannot get access to that for some reason, you can always just shoot me a DM and say, hey, Barbara, do me a favor, put me on the list to remind me when those things are coming up in case I'm interested and can attend. So, and hopefully you can. Okay, so let's jump right into today's topic, which I feel very strongly about sharing with you because I think too often we focus on the wrong things and we miss opportunities. We all, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, we all need energy, and we all want to be happy, and we all want to be successful and productive and so forth. So we try to say to ourselves, okay, what can I do to get there? And so we learn a lot of things. We take some classes, an online class, or we learn certain skills. Maybe we want to learn how to be a good leader, be good at marketing or sales. Maybe you want to learn accounting or writing skills or public speaking, etc. Right? That's what we focus a lot of time on, those kinds of things, skill acquisition and proficiency. And we want to be productive. We want to make good use of our time. So some of us will spend time reading about or learning about things like time management and organization, and should I time block? How do I do that? Blah, 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 blah. Now, those things are great, but they miss out on the most important thing, which is your energy. Because nothing can get done unless you have the energy to do that. And again, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, high energy, not, your normal is not high energy, that's okay. You still need it to get through, because your energy is inextricably tied to your performance, how you show up. The energy that you have, whether you have enough energy and the kind of energy that you have, will determine the quality of your work and the quality of your life. It will determine how much you get done in a day, how quickly you get done, the quality of those things, and the quality of your engagements in general. So at meetings, in relationships at work, in your relationships outside of work. Your energy plays a big part in whether people want to do business with you, whether they want to give you a promotion, whether they're going to listen to you, notice you, be influenced by you, hire you, and so much more. So it's really, really important that we don't miss the boat and just focus on those other types of skills and external kinds of things. So, okay, energy is important, right? How do we ramp it up? Well, traditionally, we talk about the things that we're all kind of familiar with, like getting enough sleep. That's important. Having nutritious foods, drinking enough water, getting enough fluids in, moving our bodies. We talk about energy. A lot of people talk about, caffeine, things like that to ramp up energy. And those things do have an effect on our energy level. But let me tell you the secret, the thing that is either going to fuel more energy for you or exhaust it and drain it. Guess what it is? It's your emotions. Yep. Your emotions are going to play the biggest role in the type of energy you have and your experience in the quality of your life. Okay, I'm just going to stop for a second. I'm going to go into the comments and just make that post, because I promised that I would do that. And by the way, I can't tell. This is the one thing with this technology. I can't tell who's on at any given moment or even how many people are on. So if you're watching this in real time, I'd love for you to just throw something in the comments, throw a happy face in there, say hi, or let me know where you're tuning in from. That would be fantastic. Or even that you can hear me. This is great. So, okay. So that was just a little side note. Let's get back. Let's get back to business and talk about your energy. And then I'm going to give you this formula. So I just want to make you aware of a couple things that are going on in your brain and in your life, because I see so many people just living their life and going through their days, managing their circumstances, rather than taking the lead in the quality of their life, the quality of their emotions and their energy. So a couple different things. First of all, most of us are in jobs and professions that these days they call information workers. Have you heard that? We're information workers. So, and all that means is there's a distinction between that and earning a living using your physicality. So rather than sending your energy to your muscles to lift things and your body, this is where we do the lifting, the heavy lifting in our brains. And in fact, your brain uses more energy than any other organ in your body. Your brain uses more energy than your heart, than your lungs, than your kidneys, than anything else. And we need that energy. And we need it specifically for our cognitive processes, things like decision-making, memory, attention, focus, and so much more. All those things that are going to give us an edge in how we perform in our lives. So those require a lot of energy. Now, intense emotions can pull that energy away. There's a mental drain. So if I'm feeling a lot of intense emotions, it's going to be much more difficult for me to focus and be as efficient as I can in my work. Make sense? Now, some emotions play an even larger role in depleting emotions. Fear, for example. And so much of what we do, by the way, is out of fear. Right? A lot of us spend our lives worrying about a lot of things, being stressed about certain situations and problems, and worrying about whether we're going to make a sale or be rejected, and worrying about our families, even anger is the root cause of anger is fear. So fear shows up a lot. And the reason that I focus on that is that when we're in this sort of fear mode, whether it's underlying or very obvious, things can happen within our bodies. Our blood pressure can rise, our heart rate can rise, our hormone levels will rise, and all of those things require energy. So again, we're depleting energy by feeling certain things, certain emotions. Okay. So I think that's important to know because again, we're so busy and we just go through our lives not always being aware of what we're feeling, our emotions and the quality of their emotions. And I want you to know the effect that it has on you. Okay. And by the way, my analytical people out there who tell me very often, well, we don't get involved. I don't think about emotions. That's for other people. No, you do. You're just not aware of it. It's below the surface. I want you to get in touch with it because it's driving you. So, positive emotions like joy, curiosity, empathy, those kinds of things will fuel your energy. Other emotions, sadness, stress, for example, those will drain your energy. And things like stress or sadness, those also have a debilitating aspect to them in a larger sense as well. Because if you think about it, if you are stressed or sad, and that's going to deplete your energy, so you're not going to feel very energetic. If you're not feeling very energetic, you might feel stressed or sad. So it becomes this like vicious circle. So we want to be aware of these things. And look, I know things happen in life and we can't control a lot of it. And we're going to feel these emotions, but we don't really have to lean into them as much as we do. And we do have control of where we want to spend our time with what emotions. Okay. That's where the formula comes in. So I know this stuff it kind of makes common sense to most of us, but it does bear mentioning and bringing sort of to the forefront of your thinking. Okay. Now, bear with me one more minute and then I'm going to get into this formula for you, but I want to make this as impactful and power packed for you as possible. So we're going to get into the emotions that you want to feel, how you want to feel. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I want you just to relax for a minute. Just relax, take a sip of something, lean back in your chair. And I want you to consider and imagine your dream life. What does that look like? What would a great day look like? What would a dream day, the perfect day look like? What would you be doing? Where would you be spending your time? In that perfect day or that dream life, what does it look like? Where are you? Now think about it. Imagine it. What's happening? Are you by yourself? Are you with people? Are you engaging? Are you feeling intensity? Or are you laid back? Now I want you to visualize that. And think about, what you're saying to yourself in those moments. And by the way, if you're living your dream life, that's awesome. Let's think 2.0, right? And once you've got some kind of a picture, and listen, if you can't picture it right now, if you're just not feeling it, that's okay. But go back to that at a certain time. And the reason is because I want you to get there. I want you to feel what that would be like. I want you to get in touch with, I should say, how you're feeling. What does it feel like to live your dream life? What does it feel like to experience the perfect day? I want you to go deeper. Don't just say, I feel happy, right? That's at the surface level. And the reason I want you to go deeper is because what motivates you, what generates your energy, and what really drives you is below the surface. Your thoughts, conscious and unconscious, are like an iceberg. I know those of you who follow me or have worked with me, I use the iceberg analogy a lot because I think it's perfect. Because we know with an iceberg, there's only a little piece of that stands above the water. And in our lives, that's sort of what our go-to, our thoughts and how we try to solve problems and what we think will motivate us. But so much, the power and the grandeur of everything is below the surface. And to really get to know yourself, you need to dig down. So I want you to think about that. What is it? How are you feeling on your perfect life? Are you feeling joy? Are you peaceful? Do you feel kindness in your heart? Are you curious? Do you feel engaged? Do you feel passionate? What are those things? Are you laughing? Is it humorous? I want you to get in touch with them, and I want you to name those things. And the reason I ask you to do this, and I take you this, is because what I've noticed with people, because sometimes I'll work with people, and specifically in life coaching, to build that dream life, figuring out what that looks like. We get really, really specific so we can build a roadmap to get from point A to point B. But what's most important is how you're going to feel. Because what's really everything you do or don't do is because you want to feel a certain way. You do or don't do something because you believe it's going to make you feel a certain way. You don't go to the gym to build muscles. You go to the gym because of the way that you believe it's going to make you feel when you go or when you're finished. And by the way, side note, all of the people that you work with and live with, the people you report to or the people who report to you, the people on your teams, the people you want as your clients, the people that you care about, all of those people are doing everything or not doing something because they believe it's going to make them feel a certain way. So that's a little side note, but it gives you an edge, because if you can discover how those people want to feel, you've got a little bit of a competitive edge in getting what you are looking to gain or accomplish. Okay, that's a little side note, but it's that feeling. So if we could take that feeling when we live this dream life and bring it to today, imagine what the rest of that journey is going to be like. So I want you to try to name those things. And if you can't today, I would definitely encourage you to take a little time in contemplation and come up with how you want to feel, not what you want, but how you believe what it's going to do for you. Okay. Now, that kind of takes us into this formula that I want to give to you. And if you're going to want to write 3 things down. So gather a pen or a pencil, something to write on, or if you're a digital note taker, open your app, get that digital space ready for you, because I am going to share with you 3 questions for you to ask yourself at the beginning of each and every day, or at least each and every work day. So let me turn the screen down here a little bit. And by the way, thank you. Someone put in here, they're watching from cloudy California. Oh, I love California. Even when it's cloudy, it's great. But it's sunny here in New York, so I'm happy as well. And thanks for weighing in on there in the comments. Appreciate you. Okay, so hopefully you've got something to write some things down with. These are 3 questions that you're going to want to ask yourself every day. It'll take you about maybe 5-10 minutes. So you want to schedule 10 minutes in the beginning when you're first doing this. I've been doing this for a while, so maybe it takes me 2 or 3 minutes at this point. Pretty quick. And it's particularly helpful on those days when you have things in front of you that you really don't want to do, the things you feel resistance to, which could be, a hard conversation with someone, or needing to put up a boundary, or you've got to be on stage or do a presentation that you're a little bit nervous about, fearful or worried about, or maybe you are an introvert and you've got to, do some socializing, and the thought of that is just not something that you love. Or for me, like, I'm a speaker, and so it used to be if I had to do a lot of writing, I think, do I really want to jump out of bed for that? I don't know. But sometimes there's a challenge in front of us, or a task or something, and this is particularly helpful for those tasks. Remember I mentioned in the beginning, if you were on, I am a Barbara Fonte, former procrastinator. I've been able to overcome that avoidance tendency, but there were a couple things that I still really wanted to embrace and had difficulty with. And so I read a lot of books and tried to get best practices. How can I really embrace these things? And for me, I'll just share with you, in particular, there were 2 things. One was going to the gym, and the other was writing. I just felt like resistance to the writing. I just felt like I'm not a good writer. I know we all say these things, right, to ourselves. I'm not this, I'm not that. It's just the wrong way of looking at things, of course. But there was resistance. So I knew if I had to write something, I felt like that was going to use up a lot of energy. And the other thing was going to the gym. I never saw myself as a gym person. I always thought that was kind of boring. I don't mind doing activities, but going on a treadmill or this or that, I had a resistance to it. And I used this formula to change that. And I'm going to tell you right now, I started this almost a year ago. If I don't go to the gym at least 3 times a week, and if I don't have a chunk of time to write every single week, I don't feel good. This is how much I love those things now. And this is a formula that I created that helped me get there. So here we go. Let me put up on the screen question number 1. Let's go. So you're going to ask yourself a series of 3 questions, write down the questions, and write down the answers. There's a power in doing this. And the first one's going to be pretty simple, but noteworthy. Question number 1, what are my intentions today? Okay, pretty straightforward, right? What do you want to accomplish today? This is what you want to ask yourself every morning. Intentions, daily intentions, by the way, can be even more powerful than specific goals because they'll get you there. They'll drive you there. But so what do you want to do today? Now, this is not meant to be this long laundry list of to-do list of things. No. Just consider 2 or 3 things that would make this a great day. 2 or 3 things that you'd really like to accomplish. In other words, where do you want to put your energies? Okay, that's question number 1. Question number 2. This is really important. Here's where you get to be in the driver's seat in your life. How do I want to experience this? How do you want to feel when you're doing these things? Not at the end of the day when they're accomplished, but while you're doing these things or accomplishing these things that you intend on doing and want to do. Okay. Do you want to feel engaged? Do you want to feel peaceful? Do you want to feel excited? Do you want to add humor? What is it that you really want? I'll tell you, if I know, for example, that on my list of things that I want to get done includes things like calling a customer service department at a utility company or an insurance company or somewhere that in the past maybe I've just gotten like bounced around and not gotten satisfaction in the past or not gotten my problem solved. I may have this bias toward doing those things today that don't feel great because it could trigger some of my pet peeves. Right? I'll bet there are things that you feel resistance to or things that can kind of annoy you or people that can trigger you in some way. So you might be able to relate to this. So if I know that's part of my intentions for the day, I'll flip it. Instead of feeling that way, I might put there, okay, so how do I want to experience this? I want to experience this with patience, with kindness, with curiosity, right? So whatever it is that you're feeling resistance to, turn it, flip it upside down. If you are avoiding something, maybe you prefer to feel engaged. Like what would feel better? This is where you get to really focus on what it would be like on that perfect day or that dream life. That's why I wanted you to do that, because I want you to tap into those things that are under the surface that are going to drive you and motivate you. And don't worry if you're saying to yourself, well, it's impossible. This is such a horrible thing that I have in front of me. It's never going to become the best thing since sliced bread. I get it. And you may be right. But the point is not necessarily to move it 180 degrees. We can move it to center, where the emotion and the energy is more neutral and not depleting us. So there's the power in that. Hopefully you see it. If anybody has any thoughts on that, please just pop them in the comments. Okay. So what are my intentions? How do I want to experience this? And question number 3, here we go. What can I do to make this happen? Here's where you get to be creative. And everybody's creative, by the way. Just some of us don't tap into it as often, so we don't tap into it as readily. But that doesn't mean it's not there. So the question is, what can you do? What can I do to make those emotions more likely? Let me give you some ideas. If you want to feel peaceful, what makes you feel peaceful? Can you put certain music on or certain sounds in the background? Sometimes people will put like the sound of a babbling brook or an ocean or birds chirping. Are you a person that responds to aromas and smells? Can you put on aromatherapy for peace? Can you change where you're doing this activity to change your surroundings? Can you declutter? right? We take a lot of visual cues in that affect our emotions. When there's a lot of clutter and a lot of stuff around, that can suck some energy. So these are just a couple examples. Here's a couple more. If there is something that you feel resistance to, and I did this particularly when I wanted to start writing blogs last summer. And I just thought, oh boy, that seems like a lot. And I blocked out time in my schedule. But the idea of getting started just I felt this little sort of like rumbling of, I don't know, resistance or anxiety or something there. And I wanted to get rid of it. So I asked the question, how do I make this happen? Okay, so what's an easy entry point to get me started? So for me, I said, okay, well, I'm going to just write for 10 minutes and then I'm going to take a break. I remember once I said, okay, today I'm going to start by just writing 2 sentences and that's it. I just have to write 2 sentences and then I get to take a break. I use mindfulness techniques. So I would say after 10 minutes, I'm going to take a 2-minute mindful break, which means I'm just going to breathe. I'm going to take a walk around, or I'm just going to do something to focus on only one of my senses, sight, hearing, touch, something like that. If you need some ideas for mindful practices, shoot me a DM. I'll give you some ideas. But the idea in doing this is so that I can experience it differently, right? Take 10 minutes and then take a 2-minute break. Okay, that doesn't sound so bad. I can do that. And then you get started. And by the way, I never stopped after 10 minutes. I never do. It's just, I'm just sort of tricking my brain to get there. But once after the 10 minutes is up, it's like I'm past that resistance, that sort of uncomfortableness in the beginning. You know how that feels like when you start something and you're just, I don't want to get going. There's a little rumbling in you, but then you get past that. And then you start getting more engaged and you're on your way to being in a state of flow. And that's what happens for me. The idea here is to try to create an environment that supports the emotions that you want to feel. And all of this is within your reach. I promise you that. So, as I said, I've been doing this practice for almost a year. It doesn't take me long to do it because I've really spent time getting creative and I kind of know the things that will help me if I feel resistance. But I have to tell you something. I don't feel resistance to anything anymore. Nothing. It's all there and it's all easy to do. And it's these 3 questions that have made the difference. So if you want to ramp up your energy, your productivity, if you want to feel different emotions, particularly with different kinds of days and different kinds of tasks, I would definitely encourage you and invite you to use these because they are so powerful and they work. And you can start tomorrow. Just schedule it. So in the morning, before your day gets going, when you're having your coffee or before you take your dog or after you take your dog out for a walk, before the kids get up or after they get on the bus, before you get in your car and get to work, take 10 minutes and do this. Maybe that means that you don't scroll or check your email in the morning. You may have to, give up 10 minutes from somewhere else to do this. But this, I hope you can see the importance of this because your energy is going to drive everything. And the quality of your life is tied to the quality of your emotions. Don't take that for granted. You get to be the driver in your own life. And a little shift like this can take you on a totally different trajectory and make an incredible impact. So I encourage you, I invite you to use this, and I'd love to hear from you about how it's going and what you've experienced. Even if you say, you know what, it didn't work for me or something like, whatever. I want to hear everything. So please shoot me a DM or reach out by email or something and let me know how it's going and how I can support you. And to that end, let me just say, we all have things that we worry about, that we're stressed about, that are blocks or challenges that we have. If there are some things that come up for you and you would like them addressed on lives or in posts or something, please, I'd like to know, what's happening, how I can serve you. I hope today served you. I thank you for being here with me. In the comment section, I put the link for a list of blind spots that we have, different patterns of thinking. We all have them, and they mess with our well-being and our performance. And it's not do we have them, it's which ones resonate with you. And if you You can grab that free download by going to the link or going to that QR code at the top of the screen. You'll probably recognize some people in your life in some of these thinking patterns as well. You'd be like, oh, yeah, that's my mother-in-law. Just as an example. I'm not saying, personally, but so enjoy that. Thank you so much for being here again. I wish you nothing but positive happiness and success in your life. So take care of you and have a great rest of your day, everyone. Bye-bye.